Welcome back. So in the previous lesson, I showed you how you can import the demo content on the WordPress theme Avada, a demo layout where you can get all the design, all the pages, post, various sections. You can just import everything with a click of a button, and then you have a site that is ready to go. So one task that you still have to do is to edit the sample content, and a lot of my audience is actually going this route where they import sample layout and then modify the content to make it look like a professional website, and that is all fine. You can do that. So I wanted to go in detail about how you can edit this content and achieve a nice result in a really quick time. So I want to go in detail and show you all about. Quick pause. I hope you're enjoying my videos about professional web design using the Avada theme. Actually, these videos are a part of a very detailed video course that I created for Udemy. So if you would like to explore these topics in more detail and ask questions, check out my course on Udemy. The link with the discount coupon is in the description of the video. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do that because a lot more content is coming your way. Let's get back to the video about like how you can edit all the content on the page. So let's just jump into it, and we'll start from the top to bottom. So talking about this area where you see the logo and the menu, it's called the header. And I will show you where you can replace the logo and how you can work with the menu. So just to clarify this, I will go in detail about Fusion Builder and also talk about Fusion Editor Live. So how you can visually modify things and how you can change that in the Fusion Builder, both of them. But we will cover all those topics in a lot more detail in this course. So this is just like a quick overview of how you can edit the content using Fusion Builder and what are the different options for the header, footer, and pages. So let's jump right into it, and we'll talk about the menus first. So what I am going to do is just go to my dashboard, and I want to show you where the logo and the header options are. So once we are there, I'll go to Avada theme options. And once the theme options open, then you see the logo is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The option down here is the logo, and you can see right now there is no margin set up from the top or left, right, anywhere, and the logo is set to align to the left side of the container. So you can change all that, and okay, I will open the site in a separate tab so you have an idea of how it looks like. So if you have to change the logo, for example, then you have to change this default logo, and you might as well also upload a retina logo that's gonna show up on the iPhone and iPad and high resolution tablets. So it's nothing but just twice the resolution of this. A very important tip about using the logo is always create a logo with a transparent background. So make sure that you have no colors showing up in the background of your logo because that'll look really unprofessional. So we have covered the two logos here. There is also a sticky header logo. Now what's a sticky header? Sticky header is if you scroll down the site, if you turn the sticky header on, the header will still be available. So you'll have a header bar with the logo and the menu as you scroll down the site. So the header is fixed, and that is what is called the sticky bar. In this layout, they haven't configured it like that. So there is the sticky bar option is turned off. So it's not gonna scroll as you scroll down the page. But if you did, then you can upload a logo for the sticky bar and configure it in the header section down here. So sticky header options are right there. So those are the options for the logo. Now let's talk about the options for the menu. So the first thing before I talk about the options is to know exactly where the menu is. And where the menu is you hover over the appearance section and you will get an option called menus. So I will just open that in a new tab. And in this option, you will have the menu set up right there. So author main menu is the name of the menu, and all the menu options are there. Let's say you want to this must be from when I was playing around with it, so I'll just remove it. This is how it was. And if you want to add a new menu option, you can just simply click that. You can see that we are under pages and add to menu. So in that way you can add new options to the menu. So we just added a new option in this menu right there, and then we can just save the menu once we are done with the change. Now there can be more than one menus. The menu that is showing here at the top is the main navigation of theme Avada. So as you can see, the menu has this checkbox selected, which is main navigation. So in case you have two menus, how does it know which one to put up there? Is whichever menu has the main navigation turned on is what will be displayed here. What are the other options? You have different header styles, which will be covered down further in this course. So right now we are just talking about editing this content. If you want to change the labels or the text that is displayed in the menu, you can say, and you can just expand it and just say, you can just expand it and just provide some text value right like that, and then it'll update. So you can go ahead and save. If you want a child menu, for example, you want the sample page to pop out when somebody hovers over contact, you can indent it and put it under contact, or you can put it under shop, indent it, and then whenever somebody hovers over the shop page, they will see a drop down called the sample page. Now there is another thing that is mega menu, but we are not going to cover that because sample content doesn't have it, and I will cover that in a separate video in this course if you are interested in that. So we'll just refresh this content and you will see that the my blog text will change to blog like I changed it, and if you go to shop, then a drop down menu appears. So that is how those things work. And you can also put custom link. For example, right now all we have is blog entries and pages to our own site, but let's say we want to add a link to Google on the menu bar. So you can just go to custom links and put whatever link you want here and add whatever text and just add to menu, which will add here, and then you can play around with that. So that is how you edit the menu and the logo. Now editing the menu is one thing, but the theme options for menu are another thing. So you can go to main menu options, which are like right here, the main menu. You can control its height. So the main menu height will change how much space from the top do you see. So from the highlight bar and this home text, about me, testimonials, it will change. Like if I increase that number, you will see that the home will move down and the height will keep increasing. So that is what that is. And a lot of time these descriptions are very helpful. So a very important tip is always read the description of this option to understand what it is about. So highlight style, this is the highlight bar, that the yellow bar that you see is the highlight style, and you can configure it different ways. You can put a bottom bar, top bar, you can display an arrow, you can even put a background or color. Highlight bar size you can control for here if you want to make it big or small. Menu item padding, margin, drop, shadow, pretty easy, straightforward options. You don't need to change much because these layouts are pretty professional. So you can just go with what they have. And that's pretty much it about the header bar. So the next thing down is the slider. And what's going on in the slider is there is some background image, some text, and this headline. And then you have these options like going forwards and backwards. If you do forwards, this is navigation, so it brings you to the next slide. So in this quick video, I'm not going to show you like all the stuff about the slider. We'll just quickly edit one slide. So where is this slider? This is a slider revolution. So we'll just go to slider revolution. Now in Avada, you can have a lot of different kind of slider like fusion slider, elastic slider, layer slider, revolution slider. The most flexible one that I find is slider revolution, and a layer slider is kind of similar as well, but the elastic and fusion are much less flexible but lightweight options. So I like to use revolution, and thankfully this layout also is using the revolution slider. So that's, I have a bunch of videos on that too, and tutorials on how to use revolution slider. That is another topic if you want to go in a lot of detail, but here we'll just go over and quickly edit slider. So there we are, and we see the Avada author hero page. So if we go and edit this page, we'll see that the slider configured for the page is called Avada author hero. So how do we figure that out? We click on the edit page. And once this page open in the edit view, the first thing to notice here is it's built with Fusion Builder. So that's the thing that we are learning here. We don't want to go to default editor because we are doing our design with Fusion Builder. Okay, so the first thing you see is slider revolution. That tells you that slider revolution is actually the slider we are using, and the ID is Avada author hero. So you can click on edit slider and it'll be the same as clicking on edit button here, and it'll take you there to the slider, and then you will actually see the slider. So the concept of this slider is it has a bunch of layers that you can modify. And for example, if you want to change the background image, you can click here, and the background selected, you can just go to your media library and upload a new image, like by clicking here. You can see that the image right there is that one, or maybe that one, like one of those two. But if you want to change it, you absolutely can. So you can just upload a new image, and always make sure that your image is sized right. So that is about the background. For the text layers, you see I hover over this and it becomes highlighted, so I can double click on it, and once I double click on it, the text content is selected. So I can say anything. Okay, so that's a headline, and the style can tell you like how different styles can be applied. So font family can be something else, color can be something else. You can put a background if you'd like. You can change the size and the line height and the alignment, and whether the text is bold or not. So font weight can be configured here. So a lot of configuration is available, and you'll have to spend some time here and play with these options to know what best goes. In the same way, you can double click that and just modify modify the text, and here you can do whatever. And this also is navigation, so these are controlled by the navigation options, for not itself in the slide, but the slider revolution navigation options. So here we'll just save it, and if we refresh the page now, so if I view the page, now you will see that the first slide is modified. So instead of saying whatever it was saying, it says whatever I updated it. So that's how you pretty much update the slider. And moving on, then we have a section that says more about Damon Wan. So let's open that page in the Fusion Builder view, in the edit view. Okay, so here is our slider, and the next thing down. So this UI or Fusion Builder UI is very consistent. So it will give you the same options. Like if you want to expand or collapse all the containers, you can simply click on this icon right here. So if you do this up, everything is nice and collapsed now, and you can expand each container like that. So if you click on these, everything will keep opening, and if you want to collapse, you can keep collapsing. And if you want to write custom CSS for a page, you can click on that, and it'll give you a CSS editor where you can put your CSS. This is to save the page layout, so this will be a topic of great detail, and I'll create a separate separate video on that. And this is the delete icon. So what you will find is those similar icons are there throughout the containers for every container. So every container, I'll collapse everything, will have these icons where you can edit the container, clone the container. This is the global one, which is the saving, and this is the global one called the deleting. So these two are common, and every container will have the edit and clone option. So with a click of a button, you can basically duplicate the section that you have. And let's expand this and see if what things are available. So how it works is you have a section which is a full width container here, and inside of containers you have columns. Now these columns can be multiple or they can be single. In this case, this is 1 by 1, so full width column. But if you wanted to change that, let's say you want to do 2 columns, so you can put half of your content here, and let's say I want to duplicate this into another half. So I just changed the 1 column layout into 2 column layout, and I just did some made some, actually it's the same layout, same content, but I just duplicated the content. And I just wanted to show you that you can put this content into 2 columns just like that with a click of a few buttons. So if you refresh this, what you will notice is this will start showing 2 columns now. So okay, so you can tell that it's not very good because like I haven't configured all the spacing correctly, and my columns are not looking really good. But you get the idea that I can have as many columns as you want, and if I go into a mobile view, they will be formatted nicely. So if you want to edit the text inside of this column, you can just click on the pencil icon here, and then you can click you can modify the text inside of this container, in this text block. And if you want to change the text in this text block, you can change the text in this text block. And to be safe, I always recommend to go in the text view and modify the text, because you can see that there's markup in these simple demo imports that you don't want to mess up with. So you can just go in the text view and modify the text there. So that's a quick tip. I will just get rid of this and just make it full width like it was. And then if you want to change the button, so that's a different element. Just click on the edit icon, then you can modify where this button will go to. And you can also modify like a bunch of design options like color and icons for the button and things like that. And in the extras, you have animation if you want the button to bounce or fade as you scroll. So those things you can configure over there as well. So that's pretty neat. You can change what kind of alignment you'll have on the text of the button. What else? CSS classes, you can specify that. Also specify if you want to display that button on a desktop, mobile, or tablet view. So those are all the options. Now, what all elements you can add to this column? You can click on the element here and you will see a list of things that you can add. So you can say add a blog post. You can add a countdown code block. The most used ones are these text blocks. So you can put a text block and pretty much put anything inside of it. So you can use text blocks. I use them a lot. You can use images, you can do videos, modals, pretty much you name it. So all the elements, and you can add from here. And going on to the next section, the same thing pretty much. So you have 4 columns down here. If you go there, you'll have 4 columns down here. Now what you can do is just drag these columns around and you can change the order. So I changed eBay to the 3rd one, and if I update this page, you will see that eBay is now to the 3rd one. This changed back to the 1st column, and I'll go to the next column. Now, one thing to note is also is there's a yellow background in behind these icons. So let's refresh this page so you can see the order change and the revert that I did. So eBay is now the third, and this is now back to one column. So everything looks nice and fine. And there is a yellow color behind it. So let's look at what the color is in this container. So the yellow color you can see is behind the container, not the column. So what we are going to do is to edit the container and then click on background. BG is the background, and you'll see the slight yellow color. Now also notice that you can put a gradient in a column and or an image or a video. So those are not a column but a full width container, because column will be slightly different. I don't believe you can do video in a column, but you can I still think you can do color and images in a column. So slightly different but pretty much very similar options. And design will be about design, padding and margins and containers, colors, link color, things like that. So you can do margin, padding, container border size. You can play around with that. And general will be the general options of the container. If you want everything to be 100% height, like if you want to align columns or height of the columns, then you can say define that 100% side width. I'll not go in detail of that. We'll discuss that later. So we'll just do cancel, but you saw how you can put colors behind a container. Similarly, in the next section, you will see that there is an image on the left hand side, full width container, image on the left hand side, some padding and some text with some more icons here that you can see. There are some effects defined on this column, on these icons. So going back, let's open. Now what they've done is that is the home for desktop that we are looking at. Is the full width. Sorry, this has to close. This one. So this is the desktop view, and if you look at the tablet view, like if you inspect this window and go on the tablet view, now if I look, the image is on the right hand side and the icons and the text is on the left hand side. So there are two containers involved here. They wanted to make a custom layout for mobile, and that is pretty much what they are doing. So let's talk about the desktop first. So if we are on the desktop view and we look at the configuration, what we see is the content is on, basically there are 4 columns. 2 columns are 1 by 6 to provide some spacing on left and right hand side. Then there is a 1 by 3rd column with the image in it, and 1 by 3rd column with the text and the image carousel element in it. Image carousels can have a bunch of images like this icon, and it goes to that. And hover type is lift up. That's how you saw the animation that was there when I hovered over the icons. So that's an image carousel that you can edit with your icons. A pretty nice element display, and this will display on the desktop. So that's why they name it as home at desktop. If you look at the mobile view, the picture will be after the text. So in the mobile, they have only 3 things, and the spacing they have changed, and the order of the elements they have also changed. So the columns that appear, the 1 by 3rd column appears first, and you can always duplicate the columns and make specific layout. So how do we know that this container will only be visible in the desktop? Is you can edit that, and then you will see that this is only visible on large screens, not medium screens, which are tablets, and not small screens, which are phones. And if you click on edit here, you will see that these containers will display on small and medium screens. So you have one containers for specific sizes, and your responsive options will basically control on when your layout will break down to a mobile or tablet or desktop view. So that's pretty much it. about how you modify text elements on here. Where is this background coming from? This, again, like I showed you, there's a color behind these icons. Over here, like if we look and edit this section or full width container, you will see the background is color and the image is the one that is showing up. So if you specify an image, that will take precedence over the color, and the image is being displayed over there. So that's the image. If you would like to change it, you have to put a full width image, and a good guideline is to use the same dimension as this image so it's sized properly and not over or undersized. And then like you understand how this ordering works. So then we have a section that says testimonials with a left hand side button and says what the critics say. So you'll have a section like that for the desktop view. So home testimonials, you open that up, here's the button, here's the separator, what the critics say. The actual testimonials will follow here. So if you want to modify the text of the testimonial, just go to the testimonial element, and then you can modify this text element. So again, my tip is to do this in the text view, not the visual view, so you don't mess up the markup accidentally. Okay, so you get the idea. You have multiple, like 2 testimonial elements there, some static text there, and a background for the book. And similarly, the sections down below are same. These are blog posts and a Fusion Builder element for the blog entries right there. Recent articles. Okay, so the blog posts are actually these. So in a grid layout, they are configured column 1 and 3 post, and you will see that there is a recent post widget as well that they have used in another column. So the first column will display 1, and then there are 2 1 1 column layouts. So what you'll see there is under I'm looking at the last one, so right here. So that's the one blog post layout, and those are the 2 recent post layout. And before that, they also have some portfolio entries like that, home blocks, and 3 columns with some text like vestibulum. Okay, so if you go there, you will see a static box with those 3 things and images in the background. So if you want to change that, you can go in the background of the columns and modify these images. Some static text, which you know how to modify now, and pretty much very straightforward. So that's how you modify the content in a really quick way. I'm going to go into take a much deeper look at elements and page layouts and page templates further in the course, but this was a very quick overview. Now, how do we modify this footer? This footer is basically widget. They are widgets that control this footer, and you can modify the stuff that's inside of the widget to control how the footer is going to look like. So let's go to the appearance and widgets. And you can see that there are footer widgets that are created here. So footer widget 1 basically just have the archive categories, meta, and text. There are 4 widgets. Footer 2, text widget, and what's inside of the text widget is basically an empty widget. Okay, and footer 3, about me, and footer 4, useful links. There are a bunch of latest books, upcoming events. They have just created some